We already know that a crown was given to him. That means great authority, right? That means, I mean, didn't didn't uh didn't the pharmaceutical companies get great authority? Weren't they able to decide what was going to happen and not? Weren't governments deferring to the pharmaceutical companies when this was going on? Who gave them this great power? They were given a crown, right? Well, I'm going to go deeper than that because if something is true, it can be seen from multiple different mathematical vantage points or just vantage points. And in this case, corona has a deeper meaning because anybody who has studied Greek mythology will know that the wife of Apollo was named Corona. I'm not making that up, guys. Easily verifiable. Here's where it gets even more sinister. Apollo and Corona had a son. His name was Asclepius. Now for the second picture. Asclepius is the god of medicine. Here is a picture that you need to see because this is the symbol for both Apollo and Asclepius. And I'm pretty sure you guys can see that. Just take a minute and process that. Just take a minute and process that. Now, Asclepius was educated by Chiron, one of the most mysterious and most ancient of the Titan era demigods in Greek mythology. He was educated by Chiron. Chiron means the hand. Chiron was a white centaur. A centaur is half horse, half human. Not only that, but the centaurs were masters of the bow and arrow. The phrase four horsemen, here's where some of my Christian brothers are going to get real twisted. The phrase the four horsemen of the apocalypse is not found anywhere in the Bible. It is a Christian eschatological description of the four horses and the four seals of the apocalypse. But the term four horsemen is not in the Bible. It's what we call that passage in the Bible. It's in Bible commentaries, it's in many books of the Bible, but it's not. And there's a reason for that. Because the first horseman doesn't even have a rider. The first horseman is a centaur. This is what the Greek revealed. Remember, I read the Greek text to you guys. The word rider was injected into the English in the authorized King James Version 1611, but the Greek doesn't have the word rider at all. So, yeah, in Greek, the word rider is interjected into the translations, but it's not in the Greek. I just read the Greek to you. The word rider was not there. The first horseman is most likely Apollo as a centaur. What does this mean to us? It means the first horseman, if it's also identifying an individual, it's identifying a hybrid. Take that where you want to, but we're not done because in the medical profession, for over 1,000 years in the medical profession, doctors had to say the Hippocratic Oath. Hippo in Greek means horse. The Hippocratic Oath began with, I swear by Apollo the physician. That's how the Hippocratic Oath starts. Ask anybody you know who's in the medical profession. Ask any doctor, and they'll tell you that's how the very beginning of the invocation of the Hippocratic Oath begins. I swear by Apollo the physician. Just can't make this stuff up, guys. Just can't do it. So we have an interesting development here. In Revelation 18:23, we have a summary of all the sins of this world ruling body as God is about to pronounce judgment. And one of the things that is said, and this has been noted by other people before me, one of the things that is said is that for thy merchants were the great men of the earth. By thy sorceries were all nations deceived. The problem here is the Greek word for sorceries is pharmakeia. Pharmakeia as in pharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical companies. But it's even deeper than that. Because in the ancient Greek world, pharmakeia was a nymph. And this nymph, this demi-goddess, protected a well that issued poisonous water. Her name was Pharmakeia. This is the origin of our modern words for pharmacy and pharmaceuticals and pharmacist. Strong's Concordance. I have a Strong's Concordance. You can look these words up, and it gives you all their cognates, all the root words. They're all related. They're all rooted in the Greek word pharmakeia. And in Strong's Concordance, number G, 5,331, pharmakeia is described as magic, sorcery, enchantment, occultism, witchcraft, drug use, poison, spells, and medicine. Then all this hit me when I was reading the book of Job. And guys, I'm going to read to you the passage right now from the book of Job that just shocked me awake. Here's the passage. It was when Eliphaz had gone off on Job for about a couple chapters. Job then responded to his friend Eliphaz. It was in chapter 16 or 17 that Job said, remember, he's suffering boils. So Job is suffering boils, and he says, talking about Shaddai, the destroyer, who Job thought was God. He says, his archers compass me round about. He cleaveth my reins asunder and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. He breaketh me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. My breath is corrupt. My days are extinct. The graves are ready for me. That's the passage, but this is what I got out of it. Archers are the sickness and boils that archery, the arrows, archers are what Job was talking about. The archers surrounding him. Well, archers shoot arrows. He's sick. He's messed up. He's got these boils. He says these archers are responsible for cleaveth my reins. This means his stomach sickness. But reins is a word that infers horse symbolism. He poureth out my gall. That's vomiting. He breaketh me, breaking the seal. He runneth on me like a giant, pharmaceutical giant. My breath is corrupt, pulmonary COVID complications. The graves are ready for me. In Revelation 6, it says, after the first seal is broken, then another seal, then hell and death followed. This one sentence by Job is almost prophetic and links us right there to the first horseman. All the ideas and concepts are attached. So why is it not unusual for scholars to understand that when Job is talking about the arrows of God making him throw up and they're messing up his stomach and they make him want to die and he has boils, why does it not mystify scholars that Job refers to these sicknesses as the arrows of God? I'm going to tell you why. Because Job was an oral tradition before it was ever written down on paper, on vellum or parchment. As an oral tradition, it's a patriarchal story. During the patriarchal times, civilizations were writing in cuneiform and on tablets that were burned in kilns for preservation and then put on racks in libraries, in temples. And back then, when a god was angry with the people, he shot them with his arrows, and many grew sick and died. One of the most enigmatic tablet connections in the ancient world is from Akkad. We don't have a lot of those. Most of them are from Syria, Assyria, Nineveh, Nimrod, Nimrod. Most of them are from Babylon, Babylonia. Some of them are Sumerian, but the Akkadian ones are rare. And we have an epic. It's called by academics as the era epos. And in this era epos, we have a very unique situation. We have the god Era, who is warlike, bloodthirsty. He's a servant of Marduk, but he's a god himself, and he wants to put humanity in check. That's all he wants to do. And this ancient god named Anu had created 7 subsidiaries who were gods unto themselves. And in ancient texts, they're only called the 7. So Era shoots populations with his arrows and die. But when it's time to go to war against mankind because mankind's making too much noise, too much clamor, it's upsetting the gods, Era is given the 7 to control. And these 7 are described as ancient. Their origin is a mystery. They were created by Anu in the old time. This is all in the era epos. So what's interesting is the background is Babylon. Isn't Babylon the subject matter of the book of Revelation? The 7 who were created in ancient times by Anu, who is the 8th. These 7 being terrifying and destructive and given power to destroy the world. The 7. The 7 are feared by the survivors of the flood. This is in the era epos. The 7 are feared by the survivors of the flood, and they are said to be a different group than the Igigi and a different group than the Anuna. The word Anunnaki is not found because it was a later invention. I tell you guys in my presentations all the time, the Babylonians invented Anunnaki. The original texts were Anuna and Igigi. So this is interesting. This is the era epos. But in the book of Revelation, what do we read? Remember, it's about bringing Apollyon out of the abyss. But in the book of Revelation, in Revelation chapter 17, verse 10 through 11, we read, "And there are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and he is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. These have one mind, and shall give their power and their strength unto the beast," Apollo, the destroyer. So we find this whole idea of shooting bows is all about creating sickness. That's what it's about. We see right here with perfect clarity that the Greek is talking about absolutely the weaponization of medicine. This is what it's talking about right here. It is talking about the great world ruling power is the Pharmakai, a goddess who protected a poisoned well, the pharmaceutical giants. that they're the ones in control. Guys, it's all here in the Greek.